All right, so let's talk about something that has probably driven you crazy if you've ever used an AI image generator. You know the feeling, you ask it to make a cool poster, and the image is stunning, but the text on it looks like complete gibberish. Well, today we're diving into a new AI that might have finally fixed this.
And it's a fantastic question, isn't it? Because it feels like it should be simple. You ask the AI to change a shirt from red to blue, and for some reason the person's face changes, or the entire background warps into something totally different. Why is that so ridiculously hard for these incredibly powerful systems?
Well, all that frustration really boils down to two massive hurdles for AI. The first, you can see on the left, is that text rendering. The AI doesn't see words as, well, words. It sees them as just another pattern, another texture, which is why you get misspelled, garbled nonsense. And the second big headache is that consistent editing. They just can't seem to make one specific change without messing up everything else around it.
Right. Let's just call that first one what it is. AI's gibberish problem. And it's the one thing that has really held AI back from being able to generate genuinely useful stuff. You know, like marketing posters or even the slides for a presentation like this one.
But what if a model was actually built from the ground up, specifically to solve these two problems? And that's exactly where this new model from the Qwen team enters the picture.
So let's meet Qwen-Image. This isn't just another general-purpose image generator. Its creators claim that its entire design, its very foundation, is built to achieve these two things: creating clean, readable text and making edits that are precise and consistent.
And to really appreciate what a breakthrough this is, just look at a typical before scenario. You ask another top AI model for something pretty specific: a woman holding a board with handwritten Chinese text. What you get back is this. The characters are just a jumbled mess. It looks like writing, kinda, but it's complete nonsense because the model fundamentally doesn't get it.
Okay, now, look at the result from Qwen-Image with that exact same prompt. The difference is just, wow, it's night and day. The Chinese text is perfect. It's completely legible, it even captures that handwritten style, and it follows the prompt to a T. This is a massive leap.
So the big question is, how? How did they pull this off when so many others have failed? Well, it really comes down to two key things, kind of a secret sauce that makes this model so different.
The first ingredient is something that sounds so basic, but it's actually incredibly hard to do right. It's all about superior data engineering. The team just knew that if you want to teach an AI to write, you have to feed it the right stuff. It's not just about more data, it's about better, cleaner, more relevant data.
Yeah, and this chart of their data diet is really telling. Sure, you've got the usual stuff, like pictures of nature and people, but look closer. A massive 27% is design data, things like posters and slides that have text on them. And another 5% is purely synthetic data, which means they literally created images with perfect text just to train the AI. That's the key.
And getting that data wasn't just a simple download. Oh no, they put it all through this incredibly rigorous 7-stage pipeline to filter and clean it. We won't bore you with every single step, but the takeaway here is the sheer amount of effort involved. You know the saying, garbage in, garbage out? Well, Qwen-Image was basically fed a 5-star gourmet meal of data.
Okay, so that's ingredient 1, the data. Ingredient 2 is all about the model's brain. It's a much smarter architecture, one that uses what the paper calls a dual encoding mechanism, which is a fancy way of saying it gives the AI two different ways to think about the editing task.
And this is a brilliant way to picture it. It's almost like the AI has two brains. On one side, you've got the semantic brain that actually understands what you're asking for, the meaning behind make her hair blue. But at the same time, the visual eye is focused on preserving all the original details, lighting, the background, the person's face. By using both, it can make the change you asked for without wrecking the rest of the image.
So the theory sounds amazing. The architecture is clever, but does it actually work in practice? This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's see how Qwen-Image really stacks up against the competition.
First things first, what do actual people think? On a platform called AI Arena, which is basically a blind taste test where people vote for the best image without knowing who made it, Qwen-Image scored a full 30 ALO points higher than other top models. The bottom line is, when you put the images side by side, people just like Qwen's results better.
Exactly. And that preference shows up in the hard data,
especially in its home turf, text. On a benchmark that specifically tests rendering Chinese characters, one of the hardest things for an AI to do, look at this jump. Other models are stuck in the mid-30s for accuracy. Qwen-Image comes in at over 58%. That's not just a little better, that is a gigantic leap.
And that same story plays out when it comes to editing. On a benchmark designed to test how well a model follows instructions, Qwen-Image is the clear winner for both English and Chinese prompts. It just proves that that dual-brain architecture really works.
But here's the real kicker. It's not just a one-trick pony. On a general benchmark for overall image quality, Qwen-Image was the only model to break the 0.9 score, beating out the other big names. So it's a top-tier performer across the board on top of its special skills.
So when you put all of this together, it points to a pretty exciting future. And it's not just about making better-looking memes. This is about fundamentally changing how we can interact with information itself. This quote from the Qwen team's paper really nails the big vision here. They're talking about moving beyond just typing at a computer. They imagine a future with vision-language user interfaces. Think about it. You could ask an AI to explain a complex scientific concept, and instead of just spitting out text, it generates a perfectly labeled, easy-to-understand diagram for you instantly.
So, to wrap it all up, what are the key things to remember? First, Qwen-Image isn't just another model. It's one that specifically solves the awful text and editing problems we've all faced. Second, it does this through a combination of incredibly high-quality data and a really smart architecture. And third, the big picture here isn't just about better images. It's about an AI that can finally start to visually explain ideas to us.
And that leaves us with one last pretty exciting thought. We are right on the edge of having a tool that's a true visual partner, something that can take our words, our ideas, and illustrate them perfectly. So the question is about to change from if the AI can do it to what will you create when it finally can.